Well, hey there, litter mates. Welcome back to Boss Kitty Live. I sound like I've got a little bit of an echo in my ear. Let me know if you guys hear an echo as well. It's really strange. Yeah, I can definitely hear an echo. Okay. Oh, well, Marie, hello. Can you guys hear me, or is there an echo with it? Oh, well, thank you, Miss C's Cottage. Is there an echo? Yes, there's an echo.
For what, your
Eska.
voice?
Yes, I can hear it in my earpiece, which means there's an echo going on. But Kitty doesn't have one. We're going to get it fixed.
I don't have one either.
Oh. So while we're getting it fixed, I'm actually going to get this out of my ear because I can't talk with it in my ear. Okay. So welcome back to Boss Kitty Live. I'm your host, Boss Kitty. My apologies for the crazy little start there. And yeah, I'm very excited tonight. We postponed our Monday show because I wasn't feeling so hot. And we are doing a Wednesday dye show, which is very exciting and a little nerve wracking because we're not going to do it in the dye studio, which is a hot mess because of Oregon Flock and Fiber. We're going to end up doing it right here at the table, which I have covered in plastic. You'll see here in a second. And we're not going to be working with acid dyes. We're actually going to be working with food coloring because that's something that all of you have easy access to. You can use this with no problem. What was that? You can use that with no problem, and it's kitchen safe. It's kitchen safe, which means that you can use your pots, your pans, you can use your Pyrex to go into the microwave, things like that, without any concern regarding poisoning your family, quite frankly. When I use acid-based dyes, which are more chemically, but they still work with vinegar and citric acid, I have to use very specific pieces of kitchenware in order to dye with because they can't be the things we use in our kitchen. TK wants me to apologize to you. He says I'm a little blown out, so he's getting that fixed. So in the meantime, I'm going to go through and say hello. Hello to everybody who said hello to me. Kitty, yes, the ears are back. I found them finally. TK, I promise we'll get it cleaned up in there. He's trying to walk through the other side of the garage, which is a hot mess right now. I'm going to give you a round of applause. That was amazing. But yes, the ears are back. I don't have my vest on tonight because we're going to be dyeing yarn, so I didn't want to get any on there, even though it's black. So you guys get Kate Bush instead, which I dye in her frequently because she's all sorts of stained up. So sorry, Kate. I'm glad to hear that the echo's been taken care of. Missy's Cottage, thank you. That's very sweet of you. Let's see here. Almost like surround sound. Well, hello, Carrie. Emily, hello, hello. Wednesday says meow, meow, back to Wednesday. I'm going to put this earpiece, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't hear out of it anymore anyway. We'll just put it off to the side. So yeah, let's get started. This is going to be new and exciting for us because I've never done this in this capacity before. So you'll have to bear with me, but I'm going to make you guys a part of this as much as possible. So let's go over to our workspace. There we are. How are my braces? Great question. Actually, I just got a chain put down on the bottom. So they're finally starting to, on the bottom at least, shift everything together so that I don't have any gaps. They have to wait until my upper surgery in February to start doing that on the top. They think. They're going to double check that though. So behold our dye studio. This is just a black garbage bag that I've put on top of the table to save the tabletop piece that we use, and of course the table itself. But if I were to dump water on this, it would just run everywhere, and so that would not be good. I have a plethora of different things that we can dye from. We've got 4 different skeins that are all not the same size or same weight because I just randomly, thank you, Vicky. Hi, how I disappear. I just randomly skein them up from a cone, but these are all 100% merino DK weight. They are not superwash. So I thought we could play around with those. I have this Pima cotton that I have never ever done anything with. We got this years ago to test dye with it, and then it occurred to me that you actually need a different type of dye to dye cotton. So we put it off to the side, but I thought it would be fun to see how it works with the food coloring. So I figured we could play with this. And then I have all of those. We've decided that the drop spindles are going to have the BFL in them. So I haven't really had to do anything with these extra bumps that I have. So I've got some merino. I've got some white. This is ultra fine merino. We've got some white cordell. We've got some Falkland. We have Falkland top. So this is a Falkland merino top. It's a mix of the two. And this is just the Falkland. Wonderful, Samantha. Yeah, if you're just new to the show, welcome, Littermate, to the show and to our amazing community. You can head over to our Discord. We have a show and tell section in there that is fiber centric. So post pictures of whatever you're working on, fiber that's fiber focused, or if you've been to a yarn store, if you got some new tools, anything like that. This is some Rambouillet top. We've got some Polworth.
Can you reach up and
And a super fine merino.
2 tiny little clicks?
I can try to. Hold on one second, guys. Which one?
It's the one closest to you. Just turn it down just a little bit. A couple of clicks.
More?
There you go.
Okay.
That looks a little better. You're not so shiny on your head now.
Sorry about that. We're working on the lighting, so you guys got all sorts of stuff going on there. So yeah, these are the options that we have. There's a fair amount of them. I figured we would go ahead and start with the yarn. And if we have time, we can move on to the fiber, and you guys can ask or tell me which ones you want me to start with. So I just got all the stuff out. Okay, nice white yarn. Be a shame if we stained it with wine. Oh, I should have done that. I should have just got a bottle of wine. So let's look at what we've got for tools. Oh my God, this is heavy. So off to the side here, which you cannot see, there is a very large stock pot full of water. It's not on the table because I'm a klutz and I don't want to get water all over the electronics. That'd be terrible, right? But we do have our food coloring, which we're going to use as our dye. This is just simple truth food coloring, you know? And it's got your primary colors in it plus green. So we've got yellow, blue, red, and green. We have a 4-cup mixing bowl. This I'm going to use for vinegar and for water to pour into our little mason jars right here. And we're going to mix the dye in here. I don't have a mixing stick. Oh, I can use one of those.
Mrs. C's cottage.
This is the first time you've seen me. You're not sure how I forgot you, but I'm glad I did. Oh, well, thank you, Mrs. C's cottage. Are you a knitter or crocheter or weaver at all? Luno, hello. It's been a while since you've been here live. Oh, nice white yarn. Yeah. So these are like pint size. I didn't get very large ones to use, and I don't have a ton because most of them have jam and preserves in them at the moment. And then I've got a jelly one that we can do secondary colors with, and also a little Pyrex dish. This is what we're actually going to dye in. This big steamer pan. I have like 20 of these that we usually use. This light is flashing. But we're just going to use this one tonight because we're going to line it with shrink wrap, which I don't really use for dyeing anymore. I don't like to waste the plastic. But we're going to line it with shrink wrap, wrap it up. It's blinking. I don't know why. And go ahead and put it in the microwave today. So just keep that in mind.
I think it's actually this one. I think it's this one.
Is it?
Yeah,
It is. You're right.
We're gonna have to replace
All sorts of issues, guys. We got a blinking light. Thrift stores are the best place to stock up. Thrift stores are the best place to stock up on jars. Also, that's a great point. Thank you so much, Eska. So thrift stores are going to be your best friend when it comes to home dyeing. It's a great place to start to get stock pots that you can use for super cheap. And even if you're not dyeing, even if you're dyeing with food coloring, if you're buying stuff that's dedicated to dyeing, use a Sharpie and write that on there somewhere. But stock pots, mixing cups, stir sticks, all that type of stuff you can usually get at a thrift store. You can also get those pan warmers, right? That not the commercial grade ones like what we have, but the ones that you put smaller dishes in. You can get those and use those as well to start if you're trying to do a larger batch. Crock pots are really, really great for dyeing. Crock pot dyeing is a real thing. You should look it up. Hi, Michi. How are you? You got tons of food colors you're going to do. Yeah, and you can use food color for almost anything. Oh, Megan, we're so glad you're here with us. Okay, so let's get back here. So, and then of course we also have our gloves. Over here I've got some vinegar. You can use vinegar, distilled white vinegar. This is 5% acid strength because I also use it for canning. Although I guess there's 4% out there. You can use vinegar. Generally, when I'm dyeing your guys' yarn, I use citric acid. It doesn't smell and it's stronger. But for this, because I was trying to use things that you can find here in your home, we're going to stick with vinegar. And that is honestly what I started out with when we first started doing Boss Kitty yarns. Okay, so before we get into this, we're going to get super boring for a second. I don't think it's boring. I think it's super interesting. But when you do food coloring dyes, like I said, you only have really 4 to start with. And when you're using acid dyes, there's an array of colors you can use, every shade you can possibly think of. So it's really easy for us to go in and go, oh, I want this color and this color. And you can mix those and all sorts of things. You don't really have to use a color wheel very often. But when you're doing it this way, you do. So I thought we could talk a little bit about what a color wheel is and how it works. So behold a color wheel. This is not a great picture, but this is one of the most basic color wheels out there that I could find. Basically what it's got on it is every different tone of color in order. And it's also got your 3 primaries. So you've got red, yellow, and blue. And then in between those, you get blue, green, green, yellow. So obviously the more yellow you have in there and the more blue you have in there, you get to green. Then you have yellow, orange, orange, red, orange, because red and yellow make orange. Red, violet, violet or purple, and blue, violet, same thing. So that's how this works. You have the warm colors over here, and then you have the cool colors over here. And if you look at this particular color wheel, oh, will it? I don't have my. Sorry, I have very small amount of space that we're trying to do this with. Look at that, you guys. Oh, TK, you are sexy when you tech out like that. Okay, so in this particular color wheel, and the reason that I decided to show it to you, Andy, you didn't miss much at all, is I wanted to show you guys these different shades. So up here at the top, you have the pure color by itself. There's nothing, that is like solid color, right? Then you have a tint, which is usually lighter. You've added some water or white if it's paint. You've got a tonal, so that's a little more neutral. And then you've got a shade, which is the darker version of that. So there are different ways to make those. Obviously, if you add black into any color, a little bit of black or brown, you're going to end up with your shade, right? And this is more like white, and this is just kind of diluted a little bit. So that's how that works. With that in mind, before we go any further, actually, let me see if anybody's got any questions or anything. Sorry, I'm just catching up on reading. You're actually here sooner, but you're having issues getting the sound to work on your computer. Oh, Miss Monster, I'm sorry to hear that. Kitty always has a ton of vinegar because you clean and do laundry with it. Vinegar is magic, you guys. It can be used for everything. Always mean to get one. You love the part of chemistry with colors and light. It's the best. It really is. Welcome back, Samantha. Okay, so here is a much more simple version of a color wheel. You've got your primary colors right here. They're the big circles. I love this one, by the way. Red, blue, yellow. It shows you when you mix the two, you get violet, orange, and green. And then it shows you that when you mix red, blue, and yellow together, you end up with black or a very, 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 very dark brown, depending. But that is ultimately how you end up with black. So there's that. When you move on from the color wheel, you can look at how to use a color wheel. In this case, you can use monochromatic, and that's when you're using those different tones we talked about. So the red and then the toner red and, you know, the shade red, all of those. It's different shades of red. That's monochromatic. Complementary is when you use two colors that are opposite sides of the wheel. They are complementary colors. So purple and green, red and blue, yellow. Is it purple and green? I don't ever remember. Hold on. Let me look at the wheel again. It is yellow and purple. My apologies. Green and red, orange and blue. There you go. See, it's right across from each other. And then there's also triadic. Triadic is interesting. What triadic is it's colors that are the equal amount of space away from each other. And interestingly enough, usually your primary colors are that. So red is right here. And you have 1, 2, 3 spaces before yellow, 1, 2, 3 spaces before blue, 1, 2, 3 spaces before red again. So those are trimatic colors. Same with red violet to 1, 2, 3 to yellow orange to 1, 2, 3 yellow green to yeah, so on and so forth. You get the point though. It's you want them to be even a space away from each other, and those colors just happen to work with each other. It's really interesting. You can use color wheels for a ton of stuff. They're really great. I highly recommend one if you ever decide you're going to get into dyeing. Although, honestly, I very rarely use them. I recommend it, but I don't use it. So one of the tools you will notice is not here is a face mask. That is because we are using super safe food coloring, not acid dyes. The reason you use a face mask with acid dye is because it is dust. It is just silly dust that gets up in the air. And I have more than once in my life not used a mask and then went to go blow my nose and it was a rainbow. It's bad. It's bad for you. Don't do it. Carrie, thank you so much for stopping by. It was great to see you. Hopefully you catch the rest of the VOD. Let's see. When is Crafthole coming back? Crafthole will be coming back at the first of the year. We've got to get TK with both hands, right? Do as BK says, not as BK does, right? That right there is the definition of every mother in the 80s. I'm sure 70s, 50s, 60s, all of it. But I remember my mom was very much do as she says, not as she does. No good for the lungs. Oh, it's terrible for the lungs. Rainbow nuggets. Zuzu's doing great. She's getting really big, you guys. Okay, so let's set this up so that we can actually start dyeing some yarn or fiber. But we'll probably start with yarn. So this is going to be a little awkward, and that's okay. Right? So we're just going to take this and we're going to gently put it in here. When you're dyeing yarn and you're using shrink wrap or saran wrap, whatever you're using, I recommend going and purchasing at one of the restaurant stores, the big economy size shrink wrap that's like this big and huge and has the little slicer on it like this. They're only $20 or $30, so they're not a ton of money. And I know that what a ton of money is different for each person. So I don't assume, but if you can afford it, I recommend it. It's just much easier to work with. So we're putting that down there because I want all the color and water to stay in the shrink wrap, in the saran wrap, because we're going to wrap our yarn up in it afterwards so that we can put it in the microwave. There are no stupid questions, Miranda. If I have well water, would that affect the... Yes, that is not a stupid question at all. That is a great question. Your water affects how things dye. Absolutely. The minerals and particles in your water affect it. The pH balance affects it. Everything affects the dyeing process. When we moved, I was really concerned because we were moving from one city to the other that it would affect the way that yarn dyed. And it did a little bit, actually. It comes out nicer, which is a relief. But yes, well water will affect it. Tap water will affect it. Distilled water will affect it. I know a lot of people who use distilled water. If you don't have a source for that in your house, I don't recommend. It's very expensive. It gets very, very expensive. Or you can go on Amazon or anywhere else.
$15 a piece. I put them in.
And you can get one of these. And what this does is this filters your water. You can see it has dye on it.
It's two different ones.
So this is a water filter, and this is...
They're both water filters.
They're both water filters. So it's two water filters that are screwed together, so it's extra water filtery. And then this connects to our hose, or in this case, it connects to the outdoor sink. And then this can be used to pour water into to stuff. Originally, we planned on using this at the old house outside, but this works really well here in the garage. I just haven't set it up yet. I think the total for this was $30. Yeah.
With the hoses and everything
with the
about
hoses and everything, maybe 40, but these by themselves were $30. So this is a really cheap alternative to getting filtered water without spending an arm and a leg.
they work tremendously
And it's
well.
tremendous. It works really well. We bought a little pH meter to see what the levels were on it, and it was perfect. You have well water too, yeah. I'm doing great, Panda. How are you? Is it an RO? I don't know. Because I'm not that fancy. Maybe. But honestly, at the end of the day, unless you are dyeing yarn professionally, I wouldn't worry about what type of water you have. Try the water you have and see how it works for you. You might really love the what you get. So I'm taking my rings off because they don't like to be in gloves, and we are going to put gloves on. I use basic non-latex gloves because I'm allergic to latex, but you can use these are nitro gloves. You can use any type of gloves that you want. These are spider venom something. They're really, really heavy duty ones. So I can dye yarn, like I can do multiple days of dyeing yarn with one set of these. A box of these are about $28. And it comes with 100 gloves in it. I try really hard not to go through them because it is waste, and we try to be very mindful of that. So technically, these should have soaked in water first, and we haven't done that. So while we sit here, we're actually going to take these. I know you can't see me doing it, but I'm going to go ahead and take these, and well, one of these, and we're going to go ahead and stick it in the water over here. So the water's lukewarm. You can have it be hot. I usually have it pretty warm. Normally, my water has citric acid in it to help the dye strike when it hits it. But in this case, it's just plain water. And I've learned there are certain types of bases that you don't want to have yarn sitting in citric acid. It just doesn't work. Stellina, which is the plasticky stuff that's in your, the nylon that's in your sparkle yarn. If it sits in too much in citric acid for too long, that stellina disintegrates and you guys don't get that sparkle then. Okay, let's read. You have a water softener along with a reverse. Oh, yeah, that's pretty freaking awesome. As long as it works, just use tap. Yep. It's been a while since we've seen. Oh, I'm so glad you're all here for the live. pH meters are less than $10. It's definitely worth it.
You want to use the NDI camera for a quick second to just show them what you got here?
Sure. Let me get it turned on. We're going to use the NDI camera real quickly, just so you can see what I've got turned on over here. So it goes to, there it is. Well, no, they can't see it. Hold on. I'm on the
It's in
wrong
your
one.
inset.
Yeah, I got to remember where it is. Is it in here?
Inset. You know they're looking at black screen right now.
I know they are. I'm sorry.
No, honey. Go back to your overhead camera. Go back to this. Go back to that.
Okay. Oh,
I mean, where's your workspace?
that is the workspace. There it goes.
There,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry. We're trying to. Oh, they were able to see it. TK?
Yes, they were able to see it as a whole. So
You got to see it as a whole instead, and then you got to see some weird stuff. Sorry about that.
see, if you go in here, you have to go to.
We're trying to find where it is, and I didn't put myself in studio mode. But you can see it. Yeah, so that's the pot that I've got it in. It's probably good to go at this point. Usually I let my yarn sit for about 20 or 30 minutes, but I've got a lot of yarn going on at that point in time. I don't
I don't have it in here.
don't worry about it right now then. The way we just did it worked just
Yeah,
fine.
they
It
saw
looked
it.
really cool actually, because it did the circle thing when it came in and out. So that worked. I think that actually worked better than what we've done in the past. So we're gonna grab our yarn. I just kind of squeezed this out. You still want a little bit of moisture in there. This is tied together. If you're doing more than one skein at any time, I recommend using zip ties. I use reusable ones, but I recommend using zip ties to put the skeins together so that they don't get mixed up and tangled. So now we've got this set out. We have to decide what colors we're going to use. Do we want to do chromatic? Do we want to do, what were my options? I don't even remember. Complementary colors. Do we want to do monochromatic, triadic, complementary colors? The other one is Angelus, which is colors right next to each other. So like yellow, red, and orange, which is what I really like to do. Or pink, purple, and red, that type of thing. So we have to decide what we want to do. And I would love your guys' feedback on what colors you want to see done. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix our colors because I know we need our primaries at the very least. To have more space. That is the dream, right? Okay. So this is not an exact science. I do not have my pH strips out. You can make this an exact science, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm going to put about a cup of vinegar in here. And then I'm going to split that cup between the 3 of these. That's actually probably more vinegar than I need, but that's okay. So we're going to put some in there. We're going to put some in there. And we're going to put some in there and then just kind of even it out a little bit. This is it. For some people, this is an exact science. For me, this is not an exact science. You know what? The extra, we'll just dump in there. There we go. Okay, so we've got our vinegar in here. That's what makes your dye strike. It's what activates the dye part of this. Speaking of, where did our dye go? Pink, purple, and red sounds fun. Pink and green sounds fun. Chromatic. Okay, let's see. So we've got purple, chromatic, pink and green, pink, purple, and red. BK's favorite colors. Purple, pink, and green. Hi, 9.5. How are you? Well, let's start by getting these put together. So, however much dye you put in, and I recommend if you're going to do this, you know those paste food colors that you can get, those jars of paste food color? That's what I recommend. So I'm putting 6 drops in here to start with, and we'll see how that works. Oh, look at this. Number of drops required for different colors. This is really cool, actually. If you want to do a specific color and you want it to be, you don't want to mix them this way, this has different colors on here. So it says blue turquoise, you want to add 1 green and 4 blue. Brown, you want to add 7 red, 4 yellow, 2 green, 1 blue, or no blue. So we might use this in a little bit here. But for now, let's just make our basics. So we've got red. I think we're going to do the red. What was it? Pink, purple, and red. Purple, pink, and green. Turquoise, blue. I know I love turquoise. Gel food colors work too. Yes, but they also have paste ones. So you want to add the water to this next. Okay, so just like that. And you can see that this is really, really, really distilled, right? Like I could add more to these. Always have a rag with you, by the way. And we're doing this just based off of what I had in my thing. So let's, instead of making red, let's go ahead and make purple, because I know I saw a lot of purple requests out there. So we put 6 red in there. If we want a true purple, we'll go ahead and do 6 blue. If we want more of a reddish violet, we would do 3 blue. If we wanted more of a bluish violet, we would do 9 blue. Math is fun. I want to start, let's start with 3 and see what it looks like. 1, 2, 3. Look at it change. You guys can't see it here. Hold on. Look at it change. I need a stir stick. Hold on 1 second. We're going to use this old paintbrush that I have. So it's kind of a pinkish, purplish red. So we'll add 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And that should technically, in theory, make a true purple based off the color wheel. And it does, technically. I mean, if I put this on the back side of this, well, no, I guess that doesn't really work. It does make a true purple. I want it to be a little more bluish purple, though. So let's try that and see what happens. Love the mad scientist vibes. Thank you. I should have my goggles on, right? Okay, so I think this is perfect. This is very much a bluish kind of violet color. And I'm going to start with this. I don't have anything like a dropper or anything to give myself any control over this. So we're going to use this like so. And I'm just going to put it down here at the bottom. And you can see, like I said, it's really light because this is really diluted. Because like I said before we started the show, I have no idea what I'm doing because I don't ever do food coloring. And I certainly don't do liquid food coloring. So in this case, if we wanted to go monochromatic, like we talked about, I would recommend doing this all the way across. This would be the most diluted one that we would do. So we'll just do this. We'll let that soak in, right? Just get it all up in there. Yum, 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 yum. And you can see it's kind of changed color. It's kind of hard to see because it's so light. Oh, thank you, TK. Nice. Thank you, TK. But if I were to hold this up, you would see it's got a very pale purple to it right now. Let me show you. You guys see that? So we're going to up the ante a little bit. And I'm going to actually, so I like to use towels or paper towels, whatever you've got, to soak up any extra in here, like that. Red molecules strike faster than blue, so purple breaks a lot of the time with food coloring. Emily, purple breaks a lot of the time with acid dyes too. In fact, purple is one of my most favorite colors to speckle with because you guys, your speckles are colors breaking, right? So Laura Palmer is a great example of this. When you guys get Laura Palmer, you will see, if you look at the speckles, anybody who gets a skein of Laura Palmer, look at the speckles. The red is true red all the way through. It just looks like blood splatter, as it should. But if you look at the purple speckles, there's blue in there, there's violet, there's pink, there's red, because it's not a primary color. So when it hits and strikes, like she said, the red strikes faster than the blue does. And depending on where that is, it turns into all different shades of purple. It's freaking fantastic. Brown does the same thing. You get yellows, oranges, blues, reds. Oh, Rupert, love it so much. Sorry, I got a little excited there. Okay, so we're going to add less vinegar this time, I think. Less water this time. Let's use that much. That looks good. And then we're going to do, I did 6 of these. You love your Laura Palmer. I do too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's the 6. We might add more. We'll see. And then we're going to do, I think it was 9 of these. It might have been more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the idea here is that we're doing the same color that we just did. We're just making it darker by using less of a dilution, by diluting it less. As you can see, this color is also drastically darker. I don't know if you guys can see that, all right? And it's not fully, here, I'm gonna use the actual paintbrush to get that to do its thing. I think I might add, we're gonna add a little more blue to this. What? Actually, we'll add a little bit more of both. So at this point, anything I add in here should be even. See, it's not all willy-nilly, you guys. It takes time and energy to do. So when I've got certain recipes down for your yarns, then it becomes pretty easy most of the time. When I'm coming up with box sets, I love making them, but they're also a nightmare. Trying to come up with different colorways. Oh my God. What's up, TK? Much darker.
In the box.
What box? What's in the box?
Has the sandpaper for resin casting. Is an entire smaller box
of stirrers.
Full of syringes.
Oh, get out of town. He has syringes somewhere. I wish we had discussed this earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where they are unless it's that box right there. But we'll figure that out because I'm sure we'll do this again. So we're going to put this right here. Ooh, look at how much darker that is. What? And we're going to have this go all the way down this end. And it's going to bleed a little bit into here, and that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. We want it to. You don't want it to have a hard line. But you can see what we're doing. We've gone from a really light purple to a little bit darker. Yeah. So there's that. It's still pretty light though. So this time I'm going to use very little vinegar at all. And I don't think I'm going to put any water in there. There's plenty of water already in here. So much water. I saw that with Final Frontier. It's the neatest. I mean, there is the downside to it is that sometimes you get, even with dye lots, different skeins are going to be different. And you have to be prepared for that when you buy speckled yarn. It's just the way it is. Honestly, you have to be prepared for that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have to be prepared for that when you buy anything as far as hand dyed yarn goes. Because like I said, like we talked about earlier, everything affects dyeing. So the type of water you're using, the pH balance, the temperature and humidity in your flippin' house. I'm not kidding. People who dye in Florida, their yarn's going to turn out different than people who dye here in Oregon. How is TK's hand? 9.5. He's got an appointment this Friday, I think, with his doctor to see if he can get that cast off. So this is a very little amount, but it's very concentrated. We're just going to pour it right here, like so. And you can really start to see that color there. And I'm going to mix this one in there a little bit too. And this might not change colors as much as I want. Like right now, I would want this to change color more. And so now there's enough stuff in there that I'm not going to use any 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to use any vinegar or water in my mixture. I'm just going to use my dyes because I've got plenty in there and it'll be much more concentrated. We're going to use this to mix. And you can see, like, if I were to take this, I could just go like this. I mean, you can technically paint. You can hand paint. You can do whatever you want. But much like knitting or crochet, you can always manipulate it. So once I've got it on there, I can sit here and mess with it to make it a little more even. Yeah. So you can kind of start to see the change there. So this is definitely the problem using liquid colors instead of paste colors or gel colors like we were talking about, is certainly that they're going to be diluted almost no matter what. And there's not a lot you can do about that. We're going to cheat a little bit though. I'm just going to take this and scoop this out. Because we can do that right now. Do you know why we can do that right now? Because we're not selling this yarn. So there you go. Kind of like that. So this is very, 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 it's monochromatic, but it is certainly a discreet thing. If I bring it up here though, you can kind of see it. It's actually really pretty. So what we do next, with this one at least, it looks like rose tea. Oh my gosh, it really does. Is we're going to take it and we're going to roll it this way. We're going to roll it this way. And then we're going to do this. I'm going to roll it up like a burrito. This is the part usually, because I don't want to make a mess, where I take a paper towel or 3 and I sop all this extra juice up. And it's okay to do this because there's so much dye already in your yarn that this is not going to make or break anything. In fact, part of what you're doing by doing that is you're making sure that the middle section doesn't get extra purple on it, or the bottom doesn't get extra, purple on it, or whatever. So that is ready to go into the microwave. So we're going to put this off to the side for now, because in a little bit I will actually take these and put them in the microwave for us. So we're just going to set that in there like that. And you'll notice when I did that, when I rolled it up like that, I put the purple on the bottom and the light on top. That way, if anything's running, since it's all the color, it's all running down to the bottom. So That's good. And we're going to take this and we're going to wipe it out as much as we can because there's only so many things I can have sitting at this table, and water is not one of them, unfortunately. So there's that. It smells like vinegar in here. Okay, so before we move on to anything else, any questions so far? Yum, warm fiber. I know, it's so delightful. You got eaten by a book and just found the way out. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you made it. That's genius, isn't it? Because everything like seeps down to the bottom. I learned that when I was still doing the heavy hand painting for you guys. So we used to have something called a multicolor, and you see a lot of this when we do our box sets. But when we do box set multicolors now, I do them in these pans. I do them in these pans. I'll set the yarn out, and there'll be a little bit of water in there, and I just pour the color where I want to pour it, smush it up, and we get the effect that we get, that watercolor effect that you guys love so much. I used to lay yarn out on the floor, on the tabletops, and I had like ketchup bottles full of heavy duty dye, and I would squirt it on there, and I would make sure every section was saturated. It was cool when you knitted with it because you had hard lines, right? You didn't get that blend. You had these really hard stripe line type things. It was so time consuming though, like extremely time consuming. It was really wasteful because I was using a ton of plastic. It wasn't working. And honestly, I wasn't happy with the product that was coming out. I didn't like the hard lines very much. When we do multicolors, we've moved it over to more of that watercolor blend. And I really like it enough so that I kind of want to bring some of those back just on a normal basis, not just for box sets. I need some water, guys. I almost drank vinegar there for a hot second. That would have sucked. Will the food coloring dye be color fast? So Yarn Druid, that's kind of what the vinegar is supposed to do. You can get a color fast setting through a company called Dharma that will help with that for sure. I think I have some of that over there. It won't be as color fast as an acid dye where you're using certain chemical compounds, but the vinegar is supposed to strike it for you and make it more color fast. So yes, technically. Does the cellophane melt in the microwave? Tina, it does not. Think about when you are when you're reheating rice, let's say, right? You don't want the moisture to get out and get dry rice, so you put cellophane on top of it. And you put it in the microwave. It doesn't melt. It's not touching anything to melt it. Like it's not touching the metal. It's not touching any type of metal or an element to melt it. Like you wouldn't put it in the oven. Well, actually, you can put cellophane in the oven. I've done it plenty of times. It does not melt. It gets a little sticky. It certainly gets warm, and it does the shrinky dinky a little bit, and it gets dye on it too, which is really weird. Oh, Shannon, we've missed you too. I have projects I've made with acrylic dye from 5 years ago, and they haven't really faded yet. Okay. You have some dye that hasn't really faded all over the last 3-4 years. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with food coloring. And Kool-Aid does work. I mean, it's just a type of food coloring. Think about it. But like I said, I would definitely get a more compound, concentrated food coloring than what we're using today. But alas, my little ADHD addled brain did not think that part through. And I felt kind of like if I went out and bought anything for this, that was defeating the purpose of what we were doing. Okay, so this is going to take a lot of dye, I kind of want to do this in a different way. So this might be one of the last things we do. Let's do another one of these. Once again, so another reason that the yarn is not striking quickly like you would normally expect is this is not superwash. It is a merino, but it is not a superwash merino. Oh, you know what? That's clever. Let's just do that. Go in there. There we go. Okay, we're just set this here. I was like, why don't I just put it in my little Pyrex? I just got this the other day, this 4-cup Pyrex bowl. I love it so much. Kool-Aid is fun. It already has citric acid in it. Yes, it does. That's true. Yeah, and citric acid will work much better than vinegar. It's just that most people don't have citric acid in their house, so. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Was I muted? Am I back? Ruh-roh. One thing about using Kool-Aid is that it has, yes. So while we're waiting for this, let's just talk a little bit about what's coming up. So we do have a show this following Monday, the 30th. It's the day before Halloween. I know I told you we weren't going to have a Halloween special, which is still true. We're not doing a special per se, but it will be Halloween themed. I will have a costume on. Things will be spooky around here for sure. I haven't decided what we're going to work on yet. I might find a Halloween themed project to work on. Maybe we'll do our hand at color work or something. I'm not sure. Coming up, if you are going to be in Hood River, Oregon, which is near the Dalles or the Gorge, we are doing a trunk show on November 11th, I believe, at a Little Nitty. Or no, not at a Little Nitty, at Not Another Hat. I'm getting my days mixed, or my shows mixed up now. On November 11th. So definitely drop by and say hi if you're in the neighborhood. If you're not, that's okay though, because we are very excited to announce that we are bringing back our annual Black Friday sale this year. We're in a new house, in a new space, so it's going to be interesting because normally our back space, right, that's where all the yarn is, and right now it's a green screen. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that. I have some really cool ideas, and so does TK, that I think will up the amaze factor of all of this by using the green screen. But we will definitely have all the yarn here. If you've never been to one of our Black Friday shows, they're a blast. The yarn is going to be 25% off across the board. That includes the new colorways. Yes, you can use your gift cards with that. And basically what happens is that we're here, we're hanging out. I show off every single color that we have in stock, and then you guys ask me to put combinations together. We look at different patterns and how those things will work. So it's as close to being at a trunk show as you will ever get remotely. It's the best we can do. But it works really well, actually, which is exciting. So that will be the day after Thanksgiving. And like I said, it'll be 25% off store-wide, I believe. I think that's right. TK can tell me if I'm wrong. Off was great. The return of PKSN. Exactly. It's so much fun. And then December 16th, which is a Saturday, we will be in Auburn, Washington. So north of here, we will be at a Little Nitty, and I will be in full Boss Kitty elf attire. So you can get a selfie with an elfie, and we'll have all our yarn there as well. So if you're in the Seattle area or anything area around that, Auburn, come by and say hi. We really want to meet you if we haven't yet. And if we have, we still want to see you and say hi and give you a hug and, you know, see what yarn you squeeze. Okay. Black Friday show is so much fun. Ginger's right. Okay. I think that this is nice and moist at this point. What was that show? Was it where the girl gets hit by like the toilet in the airplane? Like it comes falling down on her head and she becomes a Grim Reaper. Does anybody else remember that show? I only ask because I remember in the first episode, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember she couldn't stand her parents, and her mother hated the word moist. There was something about it that just rubbed her the wrong way. Elizabeth, moist. Dead like me. That's it. Thank you, Rat. And so she'd be like, these potatoes or mashed potatoes are so moist. I don't know why I remember that little thing, but here we are. It killed me. So every time I say moist, that's what I think of now. Welcome back, Yarn Pirate. I loved that show. I thought it was really great. Very original. Okay, so you guys, what do you want to do with this one? We can go crazy with this. Like we can't do speckles, but we can do droplets. We can kind of do speckles. So we can kind of paint. I have a little paintbrush here. I have a little paintbrush. It is in my hand. And we can go kind of weirdo with this. Here, let's put some water in here. We can put different colors in here. I can put the paintbrush in, and then I can polish this shit up by going like this. So that's as close to speckles as you'll get with food coloring. I don't know how that'll turn out, but we can certainly try it. It could be fun. Georgia Lass. Yes. Dead Like Me is amazing. This town has a grilled cheese. So I think we're going to do that. Orange and black like Zuzu. Ooh, orange and black like Zuzu. So orange, let's do orange and black like Zuzu. I like that idea. So she is black all the way across, but she has some yellow in her too. Oh, we have our people who want rainbow. BK, would it help to have the remaining thanks in the water while you work on one? Oh, you mean the skeins? Yeah, probably. You mean these? Blop. Oopses. There we go. Hold on. I'm not opening these up though, because I don't want them to get tangled up. So we always do rainbows. I like the idea of doing a Zuzu colorway. So we're gonna add, remember, black is equal parts red, blue, and yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we're going to need an itty bitty, well, no, actually a lot of yellow. Because right now all we have is purple. So, ooh, this yellow is drippy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this yellow is much more concentrated than my other colors. This might get really interesting. So this right here, this concoction in here that looks like syrup, that's going to become hopefully black. But we also want orange, which is red and yellow. Do we want a true orange? She's got true orange in there. She also has kind of brown colors too. Oh, hold on. I got vinegar in here. This is just vinegar, so I can just dump that in here actually. We can also kind of put a little bit in here. That way you've got something to strike with. And there's still some in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think. She is my little Halloween cat. And then we've got, or like a box of cats or Cat O' Nine Lives. Oh, you mean for a box set? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that should become orange. Orange, glad I didn't say banana. We'll put a tiny little bit of vinegar in there. That should be plenty. Okay. And then we're going to mix this up. Hope for the best. Okay, it looks a little yellow for my liking. I might add a little more blue in there. I'm going to use this. Ooh, that's good though. Let's take like a really dark brown. Check this out. I just put it on here. That's what it looks like right there. It's like this dark brown. So if we add some more blue to this, it'll become kind of a blackish color. Hello, weenie, y'all. What are everybody's Halloween plans? I want to hear all about them. Also, I have no idea what time it is, in case anybody's wondering. This looks more like it. I think that's going to be more of a black. So I'm going to tap this out. We're just going to take a chance. Okay, this is not working quite as I expected it to, but it's kind of working. I mean, not perfectly, but we're getting some stuff. Whoops. I should really do that over on this other side here. Let's dribble over here. There we go. It is kind of turning a brown. Now you have to remember though, it hasn't set yet, so it can get much darker when we put it in the oven, if you will. Well, too bad. This is what we've got, and it's going to work for as well as it can. It's going to look great. I don't have a dropper. He's like, do drops.
Fill up your
Here.
brush,
Now,
thumb up,
yep.
and turn
I'm just doing this.
There you go.
He's like, you're trying to do a dry brush method. And I'm like, shush. Don't tell me what I'm trying to do and what I'm not trying to do. Okay. So we're just speckling the hell out of this. Try tapping the brush. Oh yeah, we can try tapping instead of... Oh, look at that. Miriam, you are my new best friend. Okay. That's where we should have been this whole entire time. Okay. Got a little more left in here. Oh my God, it smells like Easter eggs in here, you guys. So you will notice as I'm doing this, I'm not turning my yarn at all. A lot of people will turn their yarn for their speckles because they want to get it on both sides. I kind of like having a side that doesn't have any or very little speckle on it because that's what gives you guys that extra base color, whatever it is. Okay, so let's rinse this off. There are no rules, exactly. I don't know if you all understand how much I love making a mess. It's like my favorite thing in the world to do. Okay, so this is our orange. Yeah, it's a good orange. That's so amazing. Right now it looks so ugly. I don't care. This is how you learn, right? Poor TK is going to come in here. He's going to be like, there's orange on our monitor. What the hell, Simi? I mean, what the hell, BK? Oh, you've all learned my secret name, my real name. I have to kill all of you now. Isn't this the ugliest thing you've ever seen? It's amazing. Apples from his tree and they are to die for. Oh, I'm so jealous. I got a bunch of apples at the pumpkin patch and we're making apple pie and canning it, and it's been pretty delicious. It's really great because you can take it and you can stick it in like a muffin tin and make little miniature personal servings of apple crumble.
If this sets like this,
Uh-huh.
it's my new favorite yarn.
The Zuzu color.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Does it need more orange?
It doesn't come across on camera as neat as it is.
Here, we'll get it a little closer so you guys can see what's
It's
going
really
on here.
neat.
Okay, so I think that this is good, right? Let's wrap it up.
Thank you, Carmen.
Oh, Carmen, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our members. I really appreciate it. That reminds me, actually, for you patrons out there, we are going to do a patron exclusive event a week from Saturday, a week from this Saturday. Look at that. It wraps up really nicely like a burrito. We're going to do a patron exclusive event a week from this Saturday. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It might be another dye stream. It might be actually what we were thinking about doing is putting a bunch of different projects, not just knitting or, crochet, but like felting and shit like that. We're going to put a bunch of different projects in the patron page for you guys to vote on. And then whichever one wins, I'll go ahead and prep something for that. So that's kind of what we were thinking of. It was just a patron exclusive event to, get back in the game because we want to give you at least one of those every month. That looks like spring rolls. It does. I had 2 hours in meetings. Oh, gross. I'm glad that you can sit here and relax with this. The dye job is making me hungry for ramen. Spring rolls sound so good. They do. They sound delicious. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw these in the microwave for a second. Let's see what time it is. It's technically 7:30, so I'm going to be back in less than 5 minutes. I just want to pop these in the microwave for a minute or two so that they can set and get nice and toasty. And then I'm going to clean this up so that we can continue to dye things. So we will be right back. Did it work? My be right back button didn't work. TK lied to me. There it is. I turned the music off, but it's still going.
Okay, so
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's on. It's in the other room. Welcome back, litter mates, to another half of Boss K Live. We made a new button and we screwed up because that's what we do best. We learn from our screw ups. Okay, so we were able to go ahead and set those two. They both stayed in there for about 2 minutes. Probably could have been a little less. TK's watching the speckled one right now because I wanted to get back before, 5-minute mark. So if you look right here, this lovely bowl right here has soapy water in it, and it is warm. Actually, it's pretty cold, or lukewarm rather. When you're dyeing, personally, I like to rinse in a cold or lukewarm soapy water because that's how I recommend people wash their yarn as well. So this has very little soap in it. It's got half of a dime size of Dawn soap in it, and that actually was more than it was needed. But here we are. So we're going to go ahead and open this, and you can see steam coming off of it, right? In fact, the excess, I'm just going to try to pour into here and hope it works. Ooh, hot mama. Yeah. Son of a biscuit, that's hot. Okay, we're going to put this off to the side. We're going to open this up and see how it turned out. I have no idea. So you can see these don't melt, but they, like I said, they get sticky to each other. So this is very, 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 very mild, but you can see it almost kind of looks,
camera.
What?
All that steam getting on that poor camera.
I'm sorry. We're just going to dip it right in here, like so. And we're going to let it sit for a moment. And technically, we're probably going to need to swap that water out for new water, which TK might be able to do since this sink's right there after it's done. Is this the other one?
Yeah.
Is it hot?
Yeah.
Hot to trot. Here's the other one, the one that TK is really excited about. So you can see that there's a lot of excess dye in this. We could have kept it in there a little longer, but I really wanted to see what it looked like. And it's not actually setting. Like all of it, most of it's coming out, it looks like. All of the red is coming out and the blue has stayed in this case. Once again, remember, I have never dyed with food coloring before, so this is fascinating to me. We know we used vinegar. It was hot as all can get out, and it was in cold water. But it's interesting because all of the blue has stayed, but none of the red has stayed, and I'm not entirely sure why. So that is definitely something that we will want to look into. This is kind of cool looking, but I would definitely want to over dye it somehow or another. So we're going to put this off to the side and see what we can do with it. That's kind of what's cool about this show, though, is that you guys don't just get to see the successes. You get to see the epic fails as well. I don't know if this is an epic fail. We learned something, right? I really did expect the red to strike for some reason, and this is what happened. It's first timer glitch. Oh my gosh. It's super weird, right? She be steaming. I was not prepared for that. It's kind of a little bit of a magic trick. So,
I'm concerned about that one.
well, do you want to empty this out in the sink and get me some new water? Pretty please. You got both hands? Thank you. It doesn't have to be that full either. He's concerned about the other one. And this should sit in water longer than that, but we only have so much time, right? So that's a little disappointing, but whatever. We can get past it. I'm going to pour this in here. We just call it alternative results. I love it. Maybe the red just needs more time. It could. I usually let it sit much longer than that, but we were clear, in a rush. So, oh, there's no soap in this one.
The red needs to figure out what it needs from this relationship.
TK says the red needs to figure out what it needs from this relationship. So he didn't actually put any soap in here, which is fine. It'll be more of an experiment. No, it's fine. So this is how much Dawn we put in here. It's funny. I don't use Dawn for dishwashing. I only use it for dyeing yarn because it's so gentle and stuff. Like that's how much I used. I use the Miss Myers stuff for washing dishes, and I've got a little pump of it in the kitchen. When my mother-in-law was here, she came out to the garage and found my Dawn to use to wash dishes because that's what she prefers. Okay, so that's really all it needed. We're going to go ahead and open this up. I don't have high hopes, guys. I'm going to be honest. But maybe this was a little more concentrated, yeah? With the additives or preservatives in the liquid food dye. Oh, Eska, that's a great point. As a redhead, it takes so long to dye my hair. And other color when I use, yep. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put it in here and see what happens. Okay. So good. So far, so good. It's more yellow and green than it was in when we were dyeing it. There's the black isn't really there, which is interesting. I think you're right. I think it might be because we're using liquid dye instead, or liquid food coloring instead of a paste food coloring. So I might do some research on this, and we will do dyeing with food coloring part 2. Like that'll definitely happen. We'll have cooler tools. We'll look them up, we'll try more advanced stuff. But even this, you see there's the red coming on a little bit, but that yellow is staying real true. Like that yellow is in there. Same with the brownish green color. Now it really looks like ramen. It does kind of look like spaghetti squash. So it's certainly not a Zuzu color. But of the two, I would say that this one was more of a success story. So I think our red might be a dud, because I think that's why we ended up with green instead of the brown or black is because the red came out, and why we have yellow instead of orange. So that's very interesting to me. It's definitely that our red seems to be a little bit of a dud here. Very, very interesting. A little bit of a bummer for sure. Yeah. It is super weird. So red that the red isn't staying. How old is your red dye? Honestly, I have no idea. They're all the same age. I have no idea how old they are. Best if used, they're old. Best if used by November 5th of 2021. So they've been in there for a hot minute or two. So clearly the red is not great. That's okay. We don't need no stinking red. Okay, let's put this off to the side. These can actually go back into the yarn soak over here because it's just water and it won't hurt anything. So that's where we'll put those. We're going to grab this one right here. Yeah. We're going to do something wild and crazy with this. And you probably, depending on what time it is, you probably won't get to see this until the next show, and I'll show it off. We clearly don't have reds, so we're not going to bother with the red, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, that takes out half your wheel, right? Because if we go back to that wheel, one moment. If you go back to that wheel, half of your colors involve red. You've got everywhere from blue, violet, all the way to yellow, orange. Those are all things that involve red. And really, this is the case for almost any color. If you don't have yellow, then all the way from green up to red, orange, it's not going to work for you. Actually, blue, green, truthfully. And blue all the way to yellow, green to red, violet. You're not going to be able to get any of those colors. So those three primaries, they are essential when you're trying to dye. Okay, very fussy. Red is a fussy pigment. It is. You know what? You're right. Red strikes fastest, but it is also, when I'm dyeing yarn, it's the one that runs the most. So Laura Palmer is an example. We'll use it as an example again. The red, I always hold my breath when I go to rinse it because I know it's going to streak, which for that colorway works well. But man, it would be nice to just have a red speckle and strike and be done. Doesn't happen often. Between red number 4 and red number 40. Oh, that's a good point too, Emily. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. So we've got these lovely colors here. I still have yellow and I still have blue and I do have green. And so I'm not going to unskein this. We're going to leave this alone. And because I'm going to never use these again anyway, we're going to saturate the fuck out of this. And we're going to start on this end, right? And I'm just going to put it on top like this. Like so. And then we're going to take Just vinegar. No water because it's already got water in it. Do I already have vinegar? No. Nope, nope, nope. Actually, TK gave me a cup. I don't know why I'm doing this. He was so clever. We're going to go ahead and do this. Just kind of squish it in there, right? And I'm going to add more, don't worry. But we're just really going to go to town on this. Just going to make it gross and ugly and crazy. It doesn't matter. Because it's all going to, at the end of the day, it's all going to go in and just be yarn and colors. But because we're keeping it the way we're keeping it, the idea is that you're going to have spots that are a lighter color than the other sections, right? So let's flip this over. Not worried about getting it over there because we're going to put yellow on that side. So you're going to end up with a green kind of ombre type thing going. And just blop, 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 blop. That's all of our blue, which is fine. We're actually use some of this water. We're just going to sit here and push around on it. This is what I do with your guys' yarn. I just usually have more water and vinegar or citric acid than this that I'm using on it. Okay, so there's that side. Rinse my hand off. Now we're going to do the yellow side. I love blue too. It's one of my favorite colors. The yellow, like I said, is much more concentrated. Okay, so there's that. We'll let that sit there and goop for a while. Is this the start of Blueberry Blender? Sort of. Blueberry Blender is 100% speckles, though, all over white yarn. And it's a combination of 3 different tones of blue. Blueberry Blender is also, if you look through our speckles, it is the only speckle colorway we have where we only use one color. As in tone, or not tone, but it's monochromatic. We don't use any other colors. We just use blues. Okay. So you can see we're getting that green in the middle right there. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. We're getting green up here. We don't care. It's fine. It all will look great at the end of this. It's almost very Oregon Ducks. Don't tell TK that. Okay. Add a little more vinegar or a lot, whatever. We're just going to sit here. This is going to be obviously the last skein of yarn we do. I'm being messy on purpose. I want you to not be afraid. You're not going to hurt your dye, right? You're not going to hurt your yarn. Look at that. It's all the way up in there. Let's just do it. Let's get stuff all over the place. I don't even care. I'm like, oh, look, there's that and there's that. Because now you're going to get streaks of green throughout here if it sticks. Who knows, right? So there's that. And then we will just wrap it up like so. And then that will need to go into the microwave. So TK, if you're watching and you want to put that in the microwave so we can end up seeing what it looks like when it's done, awesome. If not, I can run and do that real quickly. Towels are your best friend, no joke. But you know what? Yeah, let me go pop that in the microwave. We'll do show and tell. Then I'll go grab it so you guys can see it. How does that sound? So give me one moment, just one moment. Wait, I think you might actually be listening. I can hear him walking, so I'll wait. I can hear him stomping all the way here. I stopped. I was like, wait, I hear him. We're going to do show and tell while you do this, if that's cool. Just,
What am I doing?
you're just throwing that in the microwave for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Thank you, TK. We love you. And we'll use this water to rinse it with. Okay, in the meantime, let's look at my poor gloves. Let's head on over to show and tell, lovies, because it is that time. screen anymore. Discord. Somewhere in here. There it is. Excellent. Okay, so Samantha says, here's my finished treble crochet blanket, and I hope you guys enjoy seeing it. We do, Samantha. That's beautiful. I really love blues and orange, brown motifs. I don't know why, but I love those colors together. It's very warm and inviting, very wintry. Oh, I've got it. Calm down there. I don't need to know more about that. Had a great time at the New York Sheep and Wool Fest. So jealous. I made a sweater that was perfect for the chilly autumn weather. Unfortunately, they sold out of totes, but got last year's sweater. My niece also enjoyed it. Bought her friend a gift. Your sweater is gorgeous. I love it. Ugh, all the colors in there and the texture. It's so good. Hand us the scented markers, Miss Ma'am. You guys forgot about show and tell. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Oh my goodness, look. Look at the animals. They're so cute. I didn't get to see any of the animals that often. I kind of am bummed about that. This is really cool. This looks like it's a chess set made out of felted pieces. What a great idea. Also must have taken a ton of time. And then spinning wheels. Looks like some Kromskis, maybe. Actually, a fair amount of, yeah. And a few others. That's definitely Kromsky back there because I can see the case for it. And this one. Egan Weatherwax, my current projects are a pumpkin granny square bucket hat. I hope to be done by this weekend to go to the pumpkin patch wearing this. The second is a giant granny square thing. Sheeps. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Also, I love this yellow. Oh, that is good. I can't wait to see when this is finished. And I hope you finish it before this weekend too. Also, this giant granny square thing is amazing. You've got all the Halloween colors in there. I'm very happy with it. Not that you need me to be happy with it. Okay. Finished up 17 more pumpkin hats for my son's teachers. Holy moly. They wore them to the pumpkin patch on Monday. Now working on 20 hats for the students. These look fantastic. I'm so happy that you didn't use the same yarn over and over and over again, that there's an array of colors that are used for this. Let me just set it right here. Thank you, TK. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. There we go. Thank you. So those look fabulous. And then here's the hats that you're working on for the students. I love it. Vicky, cuteness overload warning. I was finally able to get the sweaters and hat for my niece this past weekend. So now I have some pictures of my great nephew in them. The sweater is MJ's off the hook mini pop pullover, and the hat is her waffle stitch hat pattern. Mini pop pullover. That's fun to say. Oh my goodness, how freaking stinking cute. What a smile. That is a really cute sweater too. It looks great on her. And, oh, somebody's a sleepy little kiddo. The hat's too cute, too. Oh, that face is just... I love baby faces. They're just so chubby and adorable. I feel the same way about kitten faces. All my orange yarn is gone now. I feel you on that one. We used to carry like a hunter orange. We don't anymore because it didn't sell very well, but the people who bought it loved it. Crochet hooked. A small afghan that I finished. My daughter's Christmas gift is in progress. And my finished curtains that I was making before you guys went dark because I can't remember if I should. You did not. So this is your a small afghan that you finished. It's gorgeous. I really like that you've got different sized flashes of the rainbow in there. So there's that large one in the middle, and then you've got a stripe of it around a large block of white. I think that's neat. I finished, this is your daughter's Christmas gift. Super cute. I hope she loves it. Looks very snuggly. And then your curtains that you finished. Oh my God, they turned out great. Oh, those are fantastic. D, my current Tunson crochet blanket and my cats that wouldn't leave me alone. It's that time of year. All three of our cats slept on the bed last night. TK likes to, burrito himself in the middle of the night, so I have no blankets at that point. And then the cats like snuggle around him, and so I can't even pull the blankets back because they all have them. I legit got up and got an extra blanket at 3 a.m. and curled back into bed. I was like, okay, I'll be over here by myself. This is so pretty. I love the colors, and clearly your cats approve too. JK finished the last minute needed for Halloween vest, and now I'm working on a Jubilee hat for my mom. Lots of last minute crafting going on here. So here's the vest. It looks excellent, like it was just made for him or something. Oh, it looks fantastic, seriously. I hope he wears it other than just for Halloween. I love sweater vests. And this hat is too cute. I love fall colors, you guys. Okay, so we're going to get back to our last minute weird colorway because it's the only dyes we had. So let's look at it. So here we are, our skein of yarn that is hot. It's very hot. I'm not going to open it up when we rinse it. We're just going to rinse it as is. I'm not even putting soap in here, you guys, because I'm just curious to see if it actually rinses. Whew, hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot. Hot, 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 hot. We do have some color coming out, which is to be expected. We're not really dyeing this in any heavy hardcore. Like, I'm not sitting it in there for a long time. We put a lot of dye in this one. It obviously turned green all the way through. You would let it normally sit in here much longer than I just did, but I want to see what it looks like when we open it. So here we are. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. So the blue went through. Check this out. You got the blue through there too. So because of the way we had it skeined, you've got yellow at both ends, right? And then the green and blue striped. How cool is that? So of all the colors we did, that's the neatest. Like, and obviously this yellow does not crack. It's there to stay. But let me get this out of the way. But yeah, of all the ones we did, definitely yellow colors, right? This seems to be the neatest. Like, I really like that stripey thing that happened. This is not something I would do for yarn that I'm like dyeing, to sell necessarily, but it is a fun little experiment to try. Banana unripe to ripe. It's very bright and it is pretty. So yeah, and look at this. This looks like it's a witch's brew right here. So that's really interesting. I do remember when I was first starting out, I tried a lot of different experimentation, because who doesn't, with dyeing. And I took some skeins of yarn and I balled them up really tightly, actually. And then I stuck them in this very, very dark purple color. And I let it soak in and I let them dye, and then I rinsed them in the same fashion. And then I unwound them and reskeined them and rinsed them again. It was very time consuming. Obviously I would never do that to sell in bulk because it would take forever. It took days to do like 2 skeins of yarn this way, but they were so pretty. They're the original Havisham. And they're really dark on the outside or in the middle when you do the center pole. And it just gets lighter and lighter and lighter until it's almost this ghostly purple. I'll have to find pictures of them because they really are absolutely gorgeous. And I did have 5 skeins and I did sell them, but I was like, I'm never doing this again. Blue Raspberry Lemonade. I think that's the winner of the name of this. The green screen is killing you. The yarn. Oh my gosh, you're right. You're right. Oh my God, that's too funny. I didn't even think. Isn't that cool what it did though? Yeah. Okay, you guys. So this was our first official dye stream. I was a little janky and a little all over the place. We learned some cool things. We learned that my red sucks, apparently. And that when you skein yarn and dye it that way, you sometimes get stripies. We talked a little bit about color wheels and color theory. I think this was a success. Even with the failures, I think this was a success. What do you think, TK? I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun and that you can come back to this and look at it and get some stuff from it. So remember, all you need to be able to dye from home are food coloring, hopefully not this version, but like paste form, some vinegar, some water, and your imagination pretty much. Oh, and a microwave. The rest of it, it's totally up to you. Just be safe, wear gloves because you will get it on your hands and that sucks. And be mindful of your surroundings, which is the part that I always forget about. So we will be back on Monday at 6:30 p.m. for our Halloween episode. Not a special, just an episode, like I said. I have no idea what I'm dressing up as. I have to look in the trunk. I really did not prepare for Halloween this year at all, other than to decorate and get some candy for kids. But yeah, have a great rest of your week. Hopefully you try out dyeing at home this weekend, and we'll get to see what it looks like. In that trunk, I have so much junk in my trunk. But until next Monday, kids, have a great time, and we love you. And as always, happy crafting. Good night. I gotta push the button. This button and this button.